Hi everyone, welcome to Deadline Dilemmas, brought to you by Fantasy Football Scout. Praz and I have both used our wildcard in game week 30, so there's a lot to talk about. Praz, how you doing?
I'm right, and you say Pras and I, everyone has used their wildcard. Like the thing is, very, very few people who had a very specific set of circumstances ended up not using. Like if you played a free hit in game week 29, or if you were lucky enough to avoid Chris Wood, Haaland, Clivert, like everyone who people went for in game week 29 ended up getting injured. They were not even in the squad this week. So it was tough, and everybody played their wildcard, and as usual, it went to shit, like most wildcards do.
Yes, there's a lot to unpick. I know normally we always look forward, and we should say, Praz, we're recording this before the Chelsea-Tottenham game, just so for anyone knows. We've got the information that the doubles have been confirmed, double game week 33 in the blank, so that's all positive. We've got that information, but we haven't, obviously, we're doing this before the Chelsea-Tottenham game, just so you know that. We normally focus on the upcoming deadline, which we are going to do, of course, but a quick little debrief, like you said, the wild card. What was the biggest frustration for you, Praz?
The biggest frustration, obviously, the Gabriel. So you're asking while tinkering or after?
After.
After was, of course, Gabriel getting injured, and I'm not the only one. It's one of the first games, and you've built a bench boost, and you have a planned path of how you will get to certain players, and then you get an injury so quickly. Now there were not many yesterday, or not many that affected me personally. So from that point of view, I can't complain too much. But yeah, I mean, injuries are always annoying. Foden not even getting a start. Like, okay, I'm not going to complain because I got an auto sub. A lot of Foden owners shouldn't complain. But I would have expected more than 5 points against Leicester. So it's a little bit of, I wanted this Leicester game because I knew De Bruyne won't start. He played 90 minutes in the previous game. Look, it's fine. I think Foden is fine, and we'll talk about him when we talk about my team. So that's a little bit of a frustration. Palace doing nothing against Southampton, the worst team in the league. Oh, no, sorry. Palace they were playing Southampton.
Yeah.
So not only did they concede, they also, Eze, Sarr, and Mateta all blanked. So that was frustrating. So it's the wildcard didn't work. And so what I would say is it is what it is. You played it. But also the fact that you set up the wildcard, because everyone's non-wildcard team also did pathetically. It was just one of those weeks.
Yeah, totally agree with you. I think the people that got very fortunate in the wild card were the ones, like you said, that got a bit of bench jam, if you want to call it that. Some got Rodgers, some got, like you said, Mbumo, some got Murphy. So there was some good. Obviously, if you're wild carding, your squad tends to be in a good position. So you got some good, very fortunate there, let's just say. And I think we should discuss, well, we're going to get to that as well. Just the Saka as well, coming on as a sub and making a huge impact, which could change. I know you said the majority of people have wildcarded in game week 30. There is still quite a lot that will wildcard this game week. So that extra information and
No, we should actually talk about when we look at our teams that if you were wildcarding this week, what we'd change. So
we will definitely. So that's
we'll do that.
Perfect segue straight into my team. We're gonna go straight into it.
Well, let's go to fixtures first because they were just announced, right? So we should talk about those for a second, right? So this is from FPL Focal. So he's a scout boy, so he just picked up his slide from X. And look, the good thing is, so people who have wildcarded 30, one of the things that could have gone wrong would have been the fixtures could have not landed the way we thought they would land, right? So let's 100%. Use this to firstly thank everybody who does the fixture planning, who does the Tala Nadeems, the Planet FPL, James, Ben Krellin. Yeah. There's so many others like Ted Lasso, Johnny Curry, who you don't see actually in on X, but I know through analytical circles and others. So a big thank you to them. And the fixtures have landed exactly how people predicted it, which is basically the double game week for Crystal Palace, Aston Villa, Arsenal, and Man City. And for those 4 teams, there's a corresponding blank. So I think people have set up either to bench boost in 32 or 33, but regardless, they're set up to have 11 to 15, 13, 14 doublers in game week 33. And so, that's a bit of luck for game week 30 wildcarders.
I agree with you. It's worked out nicely, and like you said, we're thankful to those resources that they're so good at predicting these fixtures because they got it spot on. So we're quite happy about that. And it's looking. We're going to talk. When you see my team, you'll be surprised. I'm not going to have as many doublers as you potentially suggested. Actually, I changed my mind just while I was on wildcard. So we'll go back to my team, in fact. And this is looking obviously for this next game week. We've got 1 free transfer. I've got 0.9 in the bank, which is not too bad. Currently lined up with Raya in goal, Munoz, Livramento, Vardio. So it's the back three. Ezra, Murphy, Mohamed Salah, Palmer, and up top is Mateta, Isak, and Marmoush. On the bench, Areola, Rogers, Milenkovic, and Gabriel. So squad is with the losing. The first thing I should discuss really what's frustrating is Gabriel. Apart from even if he stayed on, the clean sheet was lost. But you could argue maybe it wouldn't have been lost if he was on because he's Arsenal's been their best defender this season. So a bit frustration there. The clean sheet was just the wipeout for Raya, especially when I wildcarded out Sales. Is something, you know, it's typical of FPL. I didn't even really sulk too much about that one because that can happen to any team there.
Exactly.
Munoz he came off early. What was happening there, Pras? That was
he traveled over the international break, played the FA Cup. So I was actually happy to see him rested because I need him now. Now that Gabriel is out on the weekend as well, and as do you. So it's good actually that he missed out, or he came off early.
Yeah, well, you say this, but his replacement got the assist. So from I know. No, he's locked 100%. I'm not suggesting that just because the guy got the assist, it's going to change. No, not at all. He's their main guy down there. But midfield. So this is how the team is set up. I'm more than happy. As you can see, I've moved Gabriel to my third bench because it's already been confirmed today. I saw it on X. I'm not sure if that came out. I think it did come out of Arteta. Say that he's going to miss the Real Madrid fixtures, and it's looking like a month. So I don't think he's going to play the Everton game. That's for sure. But fortunately for me, Livramento takes his spot straight away, which I'm good. Excellent fixture. Okay, the Newcastle Triple H is looking like a perfectly set up for this game week here. The only problem is Murphy coming off early as well. So a lot of players did come off or missed game, like like for example, Murphy and Mateta. We should discuss, Pras. They came off early. Early changes, early substitutions. And they've not been traveling all over the world. So what was that about?
I mean, Mateta has been rusty, right? After the FA Cup game, I think Glasner said that he's been rusty. He's not played any football for 3 weeks or something. So not unexpected. Obviously, before 60 is annoying. With Murphy, he's always a risk, man. He's always an early sub risk. I mean, Willock is there. Barnes may come on for him once Gordon comes out. So Murphy was never he was on my bench for a reason. I don't think he's an okay pick, right? I don't want to play Murphy any week other than basically the Leicester game now and the next week, which is the double, because he's an okay pick. Like, he's not an amazing pick.
Agree. Totally agree. We've still got Palmer to go ahead, and it's a very important player. I'm speaking not just for next game week, for this game week today if he plays, because I didn't go Saka like I was tempted to. I was on the fence. I'm not quite sure. We'll get to your team as well. From me personally, I was tempted. I really like him, and we saw that day how he lights up that team as soon as he plays. And now I'm not sure. Does that come into one of my regrets? Because Palmer's not played yet, so we can't really, really fully judge that. One of the frustrations for me was Isak as well, potentially coming off his yellow flag, and depending on what you read, it makes it sound like it might not be too bad. Like you got taken off, or it's a groin injury and it's a potential issue.
Which would Monday game as well, right? So that's annoying.
Yes, it's very annoying, and it would hinder me a lot because, as you could see, look where my captaincy is. I've been, me and you obviously we pod every week, and I've been trying every week, and I've been getting a good beating because Salah never blanks. I mean, he had his only 5th blank of the season. And I was looking at Isak, but this is not great. This is not great at all with that yellow flag, then the groin. Yeah, it's not ideal, which means I would have to go to Salah. But that's the team. What do you think?
You could also just take a view that I captain Isak anyway, and you just take it, right? Either he starts or he doesn't play at all if he's not fit. So you could still play it. Like my bus team captain is also Isak. Look, teams are very similar right now, right? I mean, when we discuss your team, when I look at it now, I basically have Foden instead of Eze, and that's my starting 11 as well. So that's just where we are. And even more so now because everybody has the Gabriel problem. So everybody's playing their 4th defender, which probably is Livramento or whoever, Burn. And so teams are similar. But look, that's not the worst thing. It is what it is. It's a good team. It's a very good team.
So that's a good segue into we want to have that discussion. What would we do different? So obviously this team now, me and your team are similar. We are going to look at your team in a bit more detail. We're similar, but what would we have done? Or I'll tell you what I think, and then you can tell me what you think. What would you have done different? We're wildcarding this week. We've got extra 1 week information. So we know the doubles have landed and blanks as we've predicted. So there's nothing to do with that. It's more to do with the extra information we've got. Now, personally, I can tell you from me, and you can tell me, I think Munoz, I possibly wouldn't go him. One of the main reasons was that Southampton fixture. The fixtures after, they get a little bit more tricky. They're not horrible, and he's such an attacking threat. No problem. He could honestly return in any game. He's possibly one. Okay. Murphy coming off, like you said, maybe I would have still gone with him because he's a good, cheap Newcastle attacker.
Well, Gordon is now back.
So he is back. Go for Gordon. Yeah. I mean, only had 0.9. I would have had to move the money around. And I'm trying to think if there's anything apart. Oh, another interesting one. Well, I'm not sure how long it's going to stay. It's Vardio playing centre back and not left, where we think potentially he's, he still managed to get a shot off, which we love about him. But obviously, it's going to be nowhere near as attacking as when he's playing that left back. So maybe him there's a bit of regret there if I had that information. Apart from that, I'll be honest with you, it's not trying to Saka instead of Palmer. Yeah, not much. Saka maybe instead of Palmer. That could possibly save me a transfer. But even then, you are still taking a gamble because they're going to want to utilize him against Real Madrid.
With Saka, I would still say I would not do it. Palmer still has Ipswich at home and Brentford away, which are two nice fixtures. Saka has 2 games, which are okay. I mean, away to Everton is nice, but Everton are doing well. And then they also have the 2 legs versus Real Madrid, where definitely Saka starts. So I would still be I would say don't go for Saka yet. Look, what I would do is I would still go Arsenal double defense. Now we know, by the way, that Gabriel's out for the season. It's just been reporting now while we've been speaking. So he's out for the season. So
is it the whole season?
Yep, whole season. So now, for people with Gabriel, like you and me and other wildcarders, I don't think you do anything. You watch who it is. Like, is it Kivior, who's now starting every game? Is it Timber, who's moving to the middle? So basically, one of them is going to get nailed now for the rest of the season. So it's easy move, right? But if you're wildcarding in Game Week 31, you don't know that. So I would just go Saliba and Raya as my 2. So that's basically one definite thing that I would change. There's no other Arsenal pick. Like, I wouldn't get clever with Moreno or anybody else. It's Saka and double defense. And so just go Saliba and Raya. Munoz, I think I don't mind the shout. Like, you could go Sar in your midfield, and instead of Murphy, you could go for double Newcastle defense if you really wanted to. So that could be a change that I would make, or I could make. You could go for Henderson in goal. Basically, if you don't want Munoz, basically Henderson and Martinez now rotate really well because you know that the fixtures in Game Week 36 and 37, they could also be a double in blank there, whoever reaches the final. And Crystal Palace and Villa play each other. So one of them could double in 36 and one of them would blank. So if you have a Henderson and Martinez combination, that works really well for 36-37 as well. I would change that. I wouldn't go for Foden now that the minutes have been alarmed. Having said that, and also the Leicester fixture is out of its way, right? I mean, I wouldn't have gone for him at the Leicester fixture not being there. But who do you pick as your third city if you wanted to go for a third city?
What has happened with Phil Foden? Like, seriously, because he was such an incredible FPL asset last season and just a top player, one play of the season. And the fall off, I mean, I looked at his numbers. He has had some returns, but the minutes and the way he's been utilized is strange. Like, you'd think a player, you couldn't go, what's happened there?
Look, I mean, it was always going to be a punt, right? I mean, if he's not delivering the same numbers this year, but he's capable of big returns. This is why the expectation was, let's go for a punt, right? I mean, for me, why don't we go to my team and then I can actually talk about it? For me, the difference between other teams and my team wasn't that much. Like, if I look at your team, instead of Eze, I've got Sar and I've got Foden instead of your Rodgers. So I just felt, why not take that punt? Now, Rodgers scores points, Foden doesn't score points, but it is what it is. I had to go for it. I wanted to go for a third City because I know City could have a double in 34, which is now confirmed, 33, which is now confirmed. They could have a double in 36. I just thought the opportunity is there because Man City also have the early kickoff in Game Week 32 and Game Week 35. So, you could get City news in the single game weeks and you could have the guy for the doubles. I just felt it's something you go for and it's fine. Like, I got away with it this week where he was on the bench but didn't come on. I'm going to play him again. doesn't work out, right? I mean, it's one player. Some people fixate too much on one pick. Rest of my team looks solid, so I'm allowed a punt somewhere. And Phil Foden, the guy who scored 3 hat-tricks last season, is not a bad punt to take if things work out. And look, Grealish scored. That's where I expected Foden to play. Had he started, he would have been just behind Marmoush, and it was a high ceiling game. So I felt I have no regrets going for Foden. Of course, the outcome could have been better. It was a punt that didn't work out, so not the end of the world. But of course, if you wildcard 31, you don't go there. You probably just go for a Savinho or don't go for triple City now.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. And that Savinho, actually, because I watched the Liverpool game, of course, the whole game, but then I did watch the extended highlights of the City game. And that Savinho was not too bad. He was more involved than I thought he was, actually. He had a couple of shots, I think one blocks, one just over. So he could have got a couple of returns. Some people did go there, so fair play. It's like I had the feeling, I'm like you, if I did go City midfielder, I was close to going Foden. It's like I don't trust him yet. I don't really like Doku. I wasn't sure about Grealish's minutes. And so the only other option was for me was Foden or nothing. But in the end, I didn't go there. Yeah, the team, like you said, we're pretty similar. What I'm surprised, well, not surprised actually, but you didn't consider, well, you can't have within your setup. Like me, I went for an Aston Villa midfielder, which I'm happy about, albeit I benched those points. And unless Palmer doesn't play, I'm not getting them. Villa look very impressive. I know one of the big concerns is that they've got a lot of fixtures, but is there any regret there for you or no? You're happy?
I want to get double Villa ahead of 32.
All right.
What I'm afraid of that Villa, you can already see Watkins didn't start, right? So Villa is going to rotate a lot because they have one shot. They are playing PSG in the Champions League.
Yeah.
They will prioritize that game. So who starts? Is it Asensio? Is it Rashford? Is it Watkins? I think Rodgers is the safest. So you've done well there. I probably will go Murphy to Rodgers as well by game week 33. I just didn't see a fixture where I would play Rodgers anyway. So I was like, I can get Murphy to Rodgers later because I don't want triple Newcastle for my bench boost in game week 33. And this is the other thing. Some differences between wildcard 30 where some people are bench boosting in 32 or planning to bench boost in 32. Some like me are planning to bench boost in 33. So if you're bench boosting in 33, I'll have 3 free transfers going into 33 bench boost to fix stuff, right? So that's the idea. Villa is good, but I think the minutes are very bad. Like the Southampton game in the middle of PSG, you don't know who's starting that game.
I totally agree. And if it was any other manager, I might have thought that they're going to prioritize the Prem, almost thinking that, I know it sounds defeatist, but that PSG is a difficult game. But with Unai Emery, we know he's the master of Europe. So in his head, he's thinking, exactly. He's thinking, I can take Villa through, and I don't blame them. So it's going to be very difficult.
PSG is his old team, if you remember.
Yeah.
So he will. I mean, not that he wouldn't be incentivized to play well anyway, but I would think they would go all out. Like, of course, Villa won't care about the Premier League because they can get to Champions League outright by finishing 5th or something. But look, I think the 2 legs against PSG, especially because Southampton is in the middle, is going to be basically on Unai Emery's mind.
Yeah. And how many, I know obviously in future pods, we're going to get into more detail. From your planning, how many doubles was you thinking of having for game week 33? If everything goes to plan, no more injuries, hopefully.
But things are not going to plan so far.
I know.
Gabriel is already out. So look, I mean, if you look at it now, Areola is home to Southampton in game week 33. So he's not a doubler, but he's good enough for my bench boost. Raya will have a double. Munoz will have a double. Guardiola will have a double. Livramento will stay as my single game weaker. Konza will have a double in 33. Gabriel was supposed to have a double, but now he's not there. So I will replace Gabriel with another Arsenal defender for sure.
Same.
Palmer will go to Saka for sure. So that's a pre-planned, two pre-planned moves. Murphy will go to Rodgers. If those are my 3 free transfers planned at the moment, I was also going to do Isak to Watkins, but now because Gabriel is out, I'll have to take a hit to do Isak to Watkins. Whether I do it or not, I will see. But Salah has Leicester in 33. Foden has a double. Marmoush has a double. Mateta has a double. Sarr has a double. That's the plan. So,
okay. So interesting. You touched on. I like the Watkins move. That's one of the ones I was eyeing up, but because of all the things we've discussed, that's going to have to be a lastminute.com to make sure we've got some confidence that he's actually going to play. Foden, are you going to stick with him then? So he's part of the plan. He's not going nowhere for now. You're just going to.
Foden is not going anywhere. Why would he?
You sure? Yeah. Why? Well, because of what we just discussed, the minutes risks. Look, it's game week 31. He's playing Man United. He didn't play a minute. I expect him to start, right? If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I expect him to start. Game week 32 is the early kickoff. If he's not starting, I won't start him because bench is great, right? So game week 32.
Game week 33 is the double. Let's say he starts one, is benched for one, he gets 100, 120 minutes. Why should I not play him? Like that's decent. 35, early kickoff. 36 could be a double again. And if he doesn't have a double, I'll sell him. Like, what's the rush to sell him now? I got him for 5 weeks, not for 1 week.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I totally agree. Okay, I'm just thinking, was he starting to get a bit nervous then, thinking, no, I could actually move him out and utilize that money elsewhere?
You can't knee-jerk wildcard picks like this. I mean, there was some logic. I knew Foden wouldn't get a lot, not get 90 minutes every game. I expected him to start Leicester. He didn't. I expect him to start Man United. If he doesn't, then we reassess based on what we know. Clearly, he's still in the team, right? I expect him to, like Grealish played, I expect him to play number 10. He'll do well in number 10. I have no worries about Foden.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure about that pick there. What did you think of I know we're discussing both teams at the same time because it's basically the same team. What did you think of my team in keeping Milenkovic? Do you think that's crazy because he's not a double out, or you think it's fine? Because, I mean, they're so strong.
Bench boost, no?
Yeah.
So Milenkovic is good. He's got what, home to who does he have at home in?
Where's the fixtures here? Oh, sorry, 32. Nottingham Forest, where are they? Why can I not see them? I'm like, yeah, they are. Everton.
Yeah, Everton at home.
Yeah.
That's a good fixture.
Good fixture.
So he's very good for a bench boost. So absolutely fine. Like, I've got Konza in that place. Konza will not score more points than Milenkovic. Milenkovic will probably score more. Even though Konza has a double, because that's a very difficult double. So yeah,
I was thinking I was close to doing Konza as well. Cheap, reliable. I know you and Konza go way back. If people don't know the reference, they've not been watching The Wire, they would know. But you two go way back. But there's not much, like, I know you like chasing the upside. He's like a safe, consistent bet, but very boring, isn't it?
Yeah, it's true.
It is, isn't it?
Nothing huge there. Hey, I'm losing battery. Shit.
Oh, don't want to do that, bro. Sort it out, mate.
No, I've got 15 minutes left. We should be okay.
Good. That's more than enough. We're going to be done by then because we're going to cover all the stuff. Let's go on to captaincy. I touched on it earlier on. Me and you both got it bust on Isak. Now, is that still the plan? I know we spoke earlier on about the groin injury, nervousness. Does Eddie Howe ever give us an accurate update?
Look, what I would say is it's a Monday game. So if Eddie Howe is little bit coy and he says, look, he had something, we'll see, then you could also leave it, right? I mean, I don't know why he would be benched and then played like for minutes. Either he plays or he misses out. That's my instinct now. There's a lot of nuance in what Eddie Howe actually says and whether that means you start him or captain him or not. At the moment, my thinking is captain Isak. I think the fallback is just Salah. So you just go Salah again, away to Fulham. It's safe. He'll again be 120, 130% EO, if not more. So that's the other one. But I felt this one away to Fulham, this was a week you can take on Salah.
But you reckon? I agree with that, especially as Liverpool, like obviously being Liverpool and watching up. Our attack seems to be slowing. Maybe it's slowing down a little bit. I've not looked into the numbers in detail to see if that backs that up. Just from watching, I'm feeling it in the matches. The numbers almost look like we've calmed the amount of chances we're creating. I know it's been difficult fixtures, so it's a harsh judgment. I mean, Everton are so strong. It's their first loss in 9 games. Moyes, we know how he plays. And then I think before then it was Newcastle who were outstanding, and then PSG. So maybe that is harsh, but it does seem a little. I mean, Salah, frustrating for the captain. Do you think there's something in that, or do you think no chance? It's still Liverpool as.
I mean, of course, Salah will not continue to be on the trajectory to score 450 points. There's been a lot of luck in his points. Also his skill. So I don't want to take away that. But no normal person can score 450 points, right? I mean, he was on a very big purple patch. And there was bound to be a little bit of period where he doesn't do as well. And I think it's fine. But that doesn't mean you don't captain him. If you have to look at all the players in your team, you want to captain Marmoush away to Man United, go for it. I think Salah is a better captain away to Fulham. Just what it is. I think Palmer is fine away to Brentford. I think he's also okay. So it's really a question of who are you backing. There's no other team, no team over 2 this week apart from Spurs and Newcastle. So if you don't have Isak, you don't have any Spurs, it's really just, your guess is as good as mine.
I mean, Fulham were pretty poor against Arsenal. I thought they weren't at their level. They've been excellent this season. They weren't they weren't great. I'm not sure if you got to see the match. They weren't great, and they were poor the game before that when Crystal Palace gave them a good beating at their ground as well. So I'm creating a narrative here, but maybe if they turn up like that, if they play like that against Liverpool, maybe that 1.8 really will be higher, and hence why the Salah captaincy is very safe, because they were very poor, and we're reaching that stage of the season where some teams now, or maybe it's a bit earlier, that I don't know. I won't say that they've got nothing to play for, but that was a poor performance. I was watching the Arsenal game because obviously as a Liverpool fan, I wanted Arsenal to drop some points.
Yeah.
It wasn't to be. I don't know if you saw the Munoz missed the effort. Did you see that? You haven't seen that?
The one problem of games in India, they start at bloody 12:45 in the night.
Oh yeah.
And so they go on to like 2:30. I don't know how these guys do it, man. Like I see like Zofar and Pranil like up, and I don't like, and then the next day they go to work. Like it's incredible. So
the games are finishing around 2:30.
2:30 when the clocks have changed. Before the clocks have changed, it was 3:30.
Oh yeah, that's too late.
So basically, you just have to watch highlights. You cannot watch like the midweek football. You cannot watch live, essentially.
Yeah, that's quite painful. But all right, no problem. I was going to say, before we even finish off, actually, let's quickly say, looking at the fixtures, any players that we're missing out on, any sort of FOMO that the wildcarders who are wildcarding this week are going to have. I mean, it's a shame we've lost Gabriel. Look at the clean sheet odds, the best this game week here.
It's going to be the best every week, man. That's just Arsenal. But they end up conceding as well. Like people who don't have Arsenal, they'll say, look, they keep conceding anyway. It's probabilities. 50% doesn't mean 100%. 46% doesn't mean 100%. But it's the highest chance of anyone else. Whether it works out or not, we will see. So I do think some people may just say, you know what? I will just go Gabriel to Saliba and just finish it, because now I know Gabriel is out for sure. In my case, why would I make that move and then bench Livramento or somebody? It makes no sense. So I will just leave it. And then assess it in game week 33, or for you in game week 32, when you have to play your bench boost on what is how much money do you need to move around and stuff like that.
Yeah, totally agree. And even looking at this, I'm still comfortable. I think I've got all the players covered in my wild card. That if I was wild carding this week, I've got the majority of them. There's nothing else really that I'm super envious. Even the Saka owners against Everton, you saw how strong they are defensively.
Yeah,
it's not an easy fixture. Nowhere near at all.
Not at all. Not at all. So this is why, I don't think Saka is captain. Palmer is okay, man. 1.8 is the same as Liverpool.
You say that, but we would need some. Obviously, we're discussing this before they play Spurs. We need to see something with Palmer, fitness, and with Chelsea. We need to see something from both before we even. Tonight. You think so? You sound very confident.
I'm not very confident, but it's Spurs. Spurs give you space. They like space. Chelsea likes space. Palmer likes space. So, of course, I could look like an idiot tomorrow when people listen to this and Spurs have and Chelsea have played. But I have to give you what I think, right? I'm very optimistic. My pod partner later has captain Palmer this week, so
he's gone for it.
He's a batch. Yeah.
Okay, fair play. Wow, and that's actually very brave. I hope that works out for him. That's very brave, because the last you saw your other pod partner, me. I captained him how many times, Pras?
I know.
And I got destroyed. I went for it.
But you captained Mamouche this week and you got it, right? So it's okay.
Finally a little reward, I was hoping for more. Maybe that sounds greedy because he had another good chance, but still, we will take it because it's a rare sight that Salah blanks. Now, before we finish off, I know we've covered the majority of the stuff, to be fair. One more thing I wanted to check. Some managers are using assistant manager or still have this chip. Has any of this information that's come in since then changed when they could use it? I think a lot were some are wildcarding and still using it. In 31, I think they started using it from 31.
Yeah, so they start using it this week. So if I was to say who is the best pick this week, I'd say either Potter or Spurs. Ange, home to Southampton. I think those would be the two that I like the most.
But Ange not being okay, so that's just a safer bet. He's not a table bonus.
That's not a table bonus bet. So it really depends on what kind of manager. Like the table bonus expected value is not that much higher than Ange's, right? So you can just play it safe as well.
Yeah, I think I'd have to agree with you. I think a lot of people maybe got nervous. A lot of people thinking Glasner for quite a lot of the stint and stuff. Some people went Eddie Howe this game.
Yeah, so Glasner has now lost his table bonus against Brighton.
Yeah.
So because Brighton lost and Palace won, right? So they closed the gap.
Yeah. It's not ideal. Or, I mean, if they're not using it this week, they could use it in game week still 36, 37, 38. And what about triple captaincy? The reason I ask, these will be some of the queries that me and you have already used them. But some
I mean, not
queries
this week. Triple captaincy next week if Isak is fit.
Yeah, if he's not fit,
then
it's tricky, isn't it?
Next week is tough. You can't triple captain next week then if Isak's not fit.
You can't, can you?
You can't triple captain a Palace player away to Man City, away to Newcastle.
No. I totally agree. That's why I'm asking you. I'm putting you on the spot here because I know there'll be some that have banked it on it in Isak. And if he is not fit, just say we don't know. Hopefully he's going to be.
I mean, Saka is a good triple captaincy, game week 33. Marmoush is a good triple captaincy, game week 33. Those are double game weeks. I think those are decent.
That game week 33, just to double check. So I can't. Last week we had the fixtures in between. Where does the Real Madrid game sit? Where does it sit, Pras? In between
32 sandwiches the two games. So it's after game week 31 and after game week 32.
Oh, okay. All right. So in Arsenal's case, Real Madrid, they'll play Real Madrid before the Ipswich game. And then they play them after the Crystal Palace one. Is it 2 games?
No, sorry. So 31 happens this weekend.
Yeah.
Then it's Real Madrid. Then 32 happens.
All right.
Then it's again Real Madrid.
Oh, that's good then. So Saka might be viable because you know after the Real Madrid fixture, his fitness and amount of minutes, and whether they're in or out as well, whether they're still in the Prem, if that makes sense. Like all of that information. Okay, so that might be a possibility. Yeah, I can't think. Apart from that, it's going to have to be a single game week, or if you get lucky somewhere else.
Absolutely.
Cool. No worries, Pras. I think we've covered everything in there. Hopefully, guys, we've answered some of your queries and you found that useful. Praz, we're still going to pod at the same time next week as well?
Yep. So we'll find a time next week. It might be Wednesday. I'll have to check with because I'm actually traveling within India next Thursday. So we'll find a time. Next week is a little bit easier because there's no midweek games, right? So we can find a time in the middle of the week.
Cool. That's not a problem. I appreciate that you still making some time. So hopefully you get to enjoy and relax and see Palmer banging a couple of goals. So I'm gonna
absolutely.
All I'm gonna say is, listen, good luck to everyone. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already done so. And I'll see you on the next pod.
Yep. Take care, everyone.
Bye-bye.